Ready to start the new year. You guys get going next weekend down in El Paso. You're enthusiastic about cross country. What gets you so excited about getting down there and coaching these kids?
I think a lot of it has to do with, being a high school runner myself. It was really, a really exciting time in my life to be out there with a bunch of runners who are willing to put all that training done. A lot of other sports, it's short little bursts, but to ask them to go out and run 5.5 miles like we did this morning, you have to be passionate about it. We get out there and we run with them. We have a great time with it.
Yeah, I'd tell you what, and that's, we were just talking about that before we came on the air is, these kids, they run at 6:15 in the morning. That means they have to get up at 5:30, 5:45. Means their parents in some cases have to drive them out there. There's a lot of commitment that goes into doing it.
Yeah, there is. And I know the kids really love the morning practices. I talked to them last year. It's like, hey, do you guys want to get rid of these? They're like, no, we like them. And the parents, of course, are kind of like, it's a little early. So a lot of kids that drive themselves, it's not a problem. But I think parents realize that it's 20 degrees colder at 6:15 in the morning, and plus their kids get to go home at 4 o'clock, do their homework, and actually have a little bit of a personal life outside of sports and school. So I think it's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah. Last year, of course, a very good year for you. District championship for the girls. The boys had a lot of positives last year as well. Talk about last season and what you got from that group.
Yeah, last season was a really, really good year. Like you said, my girls won the district championship, and I think that was really, really great for us because the year before we just edged it out by a point, and last year was over 10 points. So it was like, hey, good job to us. We really did what we were supposed to do. And, I think last year for the girls, a little disappointment at state. We didn't finish where we wanted to finish. But, I think that's part of the growing pains with this type of team. They just don't know necessarily what meets to get up for, what not to. And that's something that we're really working on this year to make sure they get up for every meet. And the boys, the boys did great. They came along. They were very sophomore heavy. So this year we got a lot more juniors. Pretty much everybody's back who can come back. And the boys last year, up and down year, we had a really rough start. I think we finished 20th at Del Valle, which was kind of like, it was like a big punch in the stomach. But, this year we look so much better. So I think we've grown through that. Everybody's trying to stay healthy. And I think overall we have about a dozen kids that are going to compete this year for a boys varsity spot. And I think that's just going to be great for us as well.
Talk about the tryouts. Well, actually, let's first talk about the summer. You had a lot of kids that came out and ran with you guys in July.
Yeah, definitely. I think we saw about 45 different kids over the summer. And, we consistently every day was 30 kids. But, just to have them out, just to be able to have that little layer of conditioning, it pays off later in the year. They're not so out of shape come the start of the season. So, yeah, it's been great the last 2 years, and this year has been great as well.
Talk about the tryouts. How many feel like good numbers and the kind of kids coming out? We talked about how excited you are about this group, but tryouts went well.
Yeah, definitely. We got a lot of quality runners out there. And in fact, we're still trying to pick some kids out that we know had really, really strong track seasons that could just make us that much better. The girls, they're looking good. They're coming along. I don't think we're as far along at this time last year or this year as we were last year. But I think overall, in the end, once the newer kids kind of get in shape, they'll be in really good shape. And the boys, the boys are great. The boys have been on it all year, pushing each other, and they're night and day ahead of where they were last year.
Let's talk about the boys team. Who are some of the lead runners you expect to step up for you this year?
Lead runners, we have Sean Malloy and Zion Tam. Of course, Zion was one of our 2 state qualifiers last year with Daniel Carnes, who graduated. But those two are kind of my nucleus there, and then Eduardo Hines, he's really strong, and Jack Holmquist, a freshman, he's looking really great too. And lately, it's been Michael Robinson. I mean, he's like, Coach, I think I'm just a hurdler. I'm like, no, you're a cross country runner. And the last couple of weeks, he's been hammering it. He's been up there with our lead guys. But it goes from there. Casey Campbell, is a 2-sport athlete with swimming. He's looking sharp this year, and so it's looking pretty good. And there's a whole pack of other guys. I could spend all day naming them, but that are right there, right behind them, making sure they're going. Jesse Hannon, Carson Olazaba, those two in particular really stick out. And then, I'm gonna have a hard time come district when I only take those 7 kids, but 7 I'm gonna take. But that's a really sweet spot for a coach to be in, to have to make those tough decisions. So.
And talk about the luxury of being able to go 5, 6, 7 deep and feel comfortable with those guys that can all run with each other and hopefully compete as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think we have those runners that are going to be out there in that, necessarily those top couple spots. But I think, that 10 to 20 range, in any meet, they're going to be packed right there. The pack time is going to be great. I mean, I don't see it being more than 60 seconds from 1 to 5, which is going to help us beat a lot of people. Because I mean, a lot of people when we go out there and run, the way the scoring is, they'll have 2 guys in the front and 3 guys in the back, and so we'll be able to pick those guys off pretty easily. And so having that confidence with those kids is great.
Talk about the girls. You did lose one of your top runners due to moving out of town, and Emily Croft, but you've got Kayla Montoya and Katrina Quigley coming back, and I'm sure a host of other young ladies as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Katrina, coming back as well. She was our 2 finisher at district. She's a little rough, but she's coming along. The last couple practices has really come along. Kayla Montoya spent some time in Colorado this summer and came back with a great base and great shape, and she's really wanting to finish in that top 10 at state. And I know she can do it. She wants to be district champion. And she's motivated to come run for us because she really wants to do it collegiately at the next level. We got as far as replacing Emily, which is a really huge loss. Bert Schremel's back. She was our 5 at district last year, and Kyla Fugate's back. Past them, though, we're looking at a core of just some younger and newer runners. Daisy Gephardt, Allie Adams is out. She's not playing volleyball this year. And, she's coming along very, very nicely. And we're just trying to, Olivia Ceballos as well, that little group to really decide our 5th runner. But they're not as deep as the boys are this year. It's just kind of one of those things. It's not that we're losing kids. It's just that the girls' team has actually been smaller the last couple of years. We just had a lot of success with that small little group.
And talk about the advantage. I mean, you talk about some of those girls like Allie, being involved with the track team in the spring for you yourself. That's certainly in terms of, getting those kids to get involved with cross country in the fall.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Coach Atkinson and Coach Hayes and I with track, we really, really push those kids that, hey, you want to come run distance. Anybody can do it. It doesn't matter if you're like Allie, if you're a 110 hurdler or a 100 meter hurdler, you can come out here and be successful. Or Michael Robinson, a 300 meter hurdler. Come out here too and just be successful. And I think that's, just that relationship having with those coaches that say, hey, at the end of the year, let me talk to these kids. Let's get these kids out. Because, I mean, sometimes it's just like those 2 in particular, they're just athletes, that they can do anything. I'm just fortunate that they're in cross country and they make the difference and they push the pace and they're real positive and they want to come to work.
Well, and how much I'm sure that'll help them when the spring does roll around, that you're staying active and staying doing things, and especially if you're a track runner, I'm sure continuing running, that's got to be a positive for them too. Yeah,
absolutely. It helps not only our distance runners, of course, our 800 meter, 1600 meter, and our 2 milers. Yeah, it helps them a bunch, but just the people that run the 400 or even the 200, like Katrina, she's a 200, 400 runner for the most part, steps in the 100, but yet can come out here and run a sub 25K and. It's that kind of just confidence that being in shape and having this level of fitness really allows them to do that. And, I'm really just fortunate to have every kid I have out. They're wonderful to work with.
Well, and the other thing about cross country, I mean, I feel like it is in some ways a little bit more of a team sport than you see with track in the spring, just because there's that pushing of each other, and they're all competing at the same time as well. How do you view it as a cross country coach?
That's exactly right. It's really an individual sport wrapped into a pretty decent team sport, because I mean, if people aren't familiar with it, the scoring, you just take their place, and you add the first 5 people on the team together, and that's your score, and the lowest score wins. It's like golf, and but it's like. Not only are they out there to push themselves, because you'll get those people that are truly individuals, in the beginning, because they're like, I'm out there to get my place and my time. And, then all of a sudden they kind of like, oh, wait, I actually want to take some kids with me to state, and so they're out there and they're thinking, well, I need to encourage my teammates and push each other at practice. But, yeah, I think it's really become a really, really good team sport, and I think that team sport really helps us stay, I think, more molded together kind of as a core unit. Versus track, where it is, you only have 3 people per event, and you're adding all those points together, and there's how many events in track? 17?
A lot of standing around and things like that.
And so it's like, when that varsity goes, there's, typical meet for a girls meet, 100 people on the line, and you're all running out there together, one big race, and you're trying to finish as fast as you can, and it really does become a really good team sport. And they pull each other, and they talk each other in the race, and it's really special to watch. Special year this year because you guys are going to get 2 home meets. You're going to get obviously the Invitational coming up on the 5th. Is that correct? Yeah, 5:30. 5:30 in the afternoon, and then also you get the district meet. So talk about the nice thing about having those 2 meets in the same year. Oh yeah, that's phenomenal. We run our course out by Mountain View Middle School, and that's where we'll be based out of this year. And it's really great to get out there in the desert, and we get to train on it as much and as often as we want to. So there's a middle mile of desert we've really been focusing already this early in the season. It's like, this is the mile, the second mile we really have to work on. And so we're already stressing how important it is. Coming up this week, we're going to practice the starts, and then we'll start time trialing on it almost on an every other week basis so they get used to that course and see it every time. Then when district rolls around, it's just another run at that point. They know it. They know every curve, every nook and cranny, where to pass, where to slow down. It's huge. And I think that's the big reason 2 years ago why our girls won the district championship, is because that course was our home course and we practiced on it every day.
Expectations for this year, what are you expecting out of the boys and girls teams? Are these both teams that are capable of winning district titles this year?
I really believe they are. I know that Clovis for the girls sets the bar a little higher than Oneonta, because Clovis goes up there and they keep beating Oneonta at state. And Hobbs on the boys' side has looked really great for about 2-3 years. And I expect that team to place at state. And so really we're just trying to, I think we're trying to close that gap. And I think in the end it's going to be really competitive in a small meet. I know Hobbs has lost a little on the top, but they're so deep. They're so phenomenally deep, and it makes it a really hard challenge. But I think we set our sights on beating them. We're taking a team to state. We don't want to finish any worse than second. We don't want to finish third, because that's no good to us. We want to be right there on Hobbs' heels. And as far as Clovis on the girls' side, they haven't been as deep, but they were really young last year, the team that we competed against, 2 or 3 eighth graders, that competed at that state championship. And so, we're definitely eyeing them. I think, Kaylin is capable of winning a district championship. I believe my boys together as a unit are capable of winning as a team. And so I think it's just, hopefully the injury bug doesn't bite us throughout the year, that we're able to, in the end, be where we need to be. And I think we will be.
In terms of state, where do you think these teams can compete at?
In terms of state, if we stay healthy on the girls' side and we I think we need one runner short of being really, really good. I think, the upper third, those top 5 is really good for us. And I think historically, Alamo hasn't done that well in a while, and, it gives us something to work for, but neither has our old district with District 3-5A, but District 4-6A has done a little bit better than that district has, and they've been knocking on the doorstep of placing at state themselves. And so if we really just raise our standards and focus on these district teams, I think that upper third of state is where we'll be.
All right. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to the Invitational. Everybody needs to get out there and support the team. You can go check out the runners and then head on over to the football game. Absolutely. And enjoy both that night. So, Coach, looking forward to the season.
All right. Thank you for having me.